much this season. They play a much better second half than first half and end up beating the Washington Wizards by 20 points in a game that was highly important for playoff standings. And the Bulls get this win off DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine combining for 56 points, blowing out any other combination of players. Nikola Vucevic also scores 16. We get Kobe White with a big game with 17 off the bench, going 6 of 8 shooting. This was a solid Bulls team win in which they played and executed much better in the second half, ratcheting up the offense and defense. We're going to break it all down, talk about it, have some fun right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
I see red, I see red, I see red, I see red, yeah, I see red, I see red, I see red, I see.
All right, Bulls fans. We in the building. Bulls get a win. Tell it 2 halves. The Bulls take care of business in a major way here in the second half, and that's what we needed the Bulls to do. They came in, they took care of business, they did what needed to be done, and it was just a great win. It was a good feel-good win. Kobe White playing good off the bench as well. We get DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine looking like the tandem that they can and should look like at times, and it overall just felt good to see the Bulls playing this way. That's how we needed to see the Bulls play, and they came in and they did their thing. This was a much better second half. And it's important that Zach LaVine is back being confident, only taking 18 shots in this game, getting 27 points. That's after getting 32 points on 17 shots in the last game. DeMar DeRozan goes 11 for 15 with 29 points, and both of those players playing efficiently matters a lot. 4 turnovers combined from those 2 players. Zach LaVine with 4 assists, DeMar DeRozan with 6 assists. It helps the offense flow a little bit better. We didn't get the scoring output that we got from some of the role players like we had in last game, but that doesn't matter. Nikola Vucevic with 16 and 13 in this game, important. Every bucket of him matters. He was 7 to 16 from the field. Could have been a little bit more efficient there. Kobe White, 6 of 8, chipping in 17 points, leading the bench in scoring. The bench, other than Kobe White, had 7 total points, 24 points when you add in what Kobe White did. This team played efficiently. 21 assists on 40 made baskets. Again, over half their baskets being assisted. That's what you want to see from the Bulls team. And a Bulls team that was getting out-rebounded considerably in the first half ends the game only being out-rebounded by 4 rebounds. Only 1 turnover. Keep in mind, that's one of the biggest things in this. The Bulls only had 1 turnover in the entirety of the second half of the game. The Bulls having their second straight game with less than double-digit turnovers. 9 in the last game, 8 in this game. That is how the Bulls can find success. Playing efficiently, doing things like that. That's what the team needs to do to be successful. And they did that. That's what it's about. That's how you need to play and execute basketball. And the Chicago Bulls did that. And that's huge. So, seeing this, especially a game which is important for playoff seeding, see the Bulls take care of business in the manner that they did. Again, that feel-good feeling stays going for the Chicago Bulls. The Wizards, who could have owned the tiebreaker over the Bulls, now the Bulls will own that tiebreaker. The Wizards on a 2-game losing streak, the Bulls on a 2-game winning streak. The Bulls have an important schedule up. It's actually between the Wizards, Toronto Raptors, and Bulls. The games played between these 2 teams over the course of the next couple of weeks are highly important for playoff seeding. The Bulls face the Raptors on Tuesday. And if the Bulls can get a victory over the Raptors on Tuesday as well, they steady move up those standings. As we talked about, if this Bulls team is going to make a serious playoff push, it's going to have to come via them going on winning streaks, them playing tough against the teams that are ahead of them. These are 2 important games, the Wizards game and the Toronto game that's kind of back-to-back, not back-to-back days for us. This is a day in between the games, but back-to-back games for the Bulls that are just important if they're really trying to make that rush for a playoff spot. And it's the next 2 games are very winnable games for the Bulls. They have Toronto, they have Detroit. We do face Phoenix on Friday. That's going to be a tough game for the Chicago Bulls. Then we have Indiana, Denver, Houston, Sacramento. All very solid winnable games over that stretch for the Chicago Bulls. The Bulls can very well go 5-2 over the next, counting the 2 wins we just had, over the next 7 games. And at that point, we're talking about the Bulls probably being the 19th for sure, maybe flirting with that 8 seed. So the Bulls just need to keep it doing. They need to keep going. They need to keep doing the things that they've been doing. And if this new look, new energy team from the Chicago Bulls is real, then it's going to be highly important for the Chicago Bulls. Let's hope that they can continue it. Let's hope that they can continue play this way. And another big win for the Bulls, a 20-point victory for the Bulls, their second big win in a row, and they played with some determination down the stretch of this game that just was extremely important for them as they go through this stretch. So let's go ahead and get into the comments, see how you guys are feeling about it. Way to weather the storm. Absolutely. That's a great way to put it, Mark. The Bulls absolutely weathered the storms. We actually closed the team out. Again, yeah, we definitely did it. I have no idea how to pronounce his username, but he says, let's get it, man. Absolutely, let's get it. Big night for our Chicago Bulls. A couple of big wins back-to-back, and the Bulls come out the All-Star break with 2 wins in a row. Let's see that if it can continue for the Chicago Bulls. Mark Shannon again says, second blowout win in a row. Hey, listen. That says a lot about this Bulls team with how they've been struggling at times this season. Isaac M in the building says, damn, I fell asleep in the middle of the fourth. Well, luckily, there were times where you would have done that and woke up to the Bulls being at a 20-point deficit. You get to wake up and see that the Bulls won by 20 points. So there you go. Kobe off the bench. So listen, I'm telling you guys, I know Bulls fans have marked Kobe as the one to go. The Bulls need to, at this point, honestly, if the Bulls were to keep Patrick Beverley, then trade Caruso to look for a way to re-sign both Kobe and Ayo Dosunmu, I wouldn't be mad at it at all. Kobe White is coming along, and if his shooting, with the improvements that he's made in the other areas of basketball, if that shooting comes around and it starts being consistent for him, he's the perfect bench player for the Chicago Bulls and a perfect player to come in. He can play the point, play the two. Perfect player to just come in and help extend victories, help be a focal point of the offense coming off the bench. Listen, at this point, I need the Bulls to try to find a way to keep Kobe. Let's see what happens in the offseason. Cannon says, great win. Kobe looking like a completely new player this year. Amazing speed and handles. Just a level of determination and focus. Let's hope that this just isn't contract year Kobe and then it goes back to the same, especially if we end up being the ones that pay him. But he's shown so much development in the offseason. We're actually fighting for rebounds and getting second chance points. What did we say at the halftime hangout? The Chicago Bulls needed to rebound as a team. They weren't doing that in the first half. They didn't rebound as a team. Pat Bev alone got 2 key offensive rebounds for the Chicago Bulls, battling on the rebounds for that. But otherwise, the team still rebounding as a team, still trying to go after effort, still not following their shots up necessarily as much as I would have liked to see. But look at the rebound. You got 4 rebounds from Pat. 5 rebounds from Drummond, 4 rebounds from Kobe, 4 rebounds from Caruso, 4 rebounds from Patrick Beverley, 13 from Vooch. So that only 1 from Zach and 2 from DeMar. But again, team rebounding. Everybody almost who checked into the game today, except Derrick Jones Jr., registered a rebound. That's how this Bulls team can be successful, especially against teams that are better rebounding teams than the Chicago Bulls. Whatever Bev's saying to Zach seems to be working. Zach is back looking like the max level player that earned him the contract. Absolutely. Grindfest says the Pat Bev effect is real. It's 100% real, at least in these 2 games. I still need to see it sustained over 5 to 7 games before I'm willing to say for sure. But listen, we got some great signs from this team, that's for sure. Will it be Biggie Bagel or the Bulls win a solid again? Let's go. Absolutely say my name. Glad to see you in the building. God damn, from MC Season. Glad to have you in the building as well. Shay, didn't get a chance to watch the game because I was too busy praising the Lord, but happy to know that we blew them out. Well, shout out to you for going for church. Hopefully you prayed for us as well. I know my soul needs it. We're glad the Bulls got a win in your absence, Shay. Pat Bev is carrying us to the finals. Listen, bro, that's tough. DeRozan came King Cap. He came in the clutch for sure today. Held them to 82 total points. Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's, again, second straight solid defensive effort from the Chicago Bulls. Hit the like button, y'all. Listen to Ultimate Rage. Hit the like button, people. DeMar and Zach down the stretch. Caruso's defense was nice tonight. Yeah, I mean, especially in the second half. He had some things that he did that I didn't like otherwise. But, it is what it is. Ayo sucks. Got to disagree with that. He had a positive minus of plus 11 in this game. The shot, he couldn't hit anything. The shot was completely terrible, but I won't say that he sucks. He did some things defensively tonight. Alex Caruso was the spark we needed in the third, and the Bulls are going to have to continually find that, right? And hopefully it can be Zach. It can be DeMar. It can be Vooch. It can be Pat Bev. It can be Kobe White. It can be Alex Caruso. It can be Patrick Williams at times. Like, hopefully when we need that little bit of extra spark, especially when the big three are playing like a big three, it comes from one of the role players really stepping up and just doing things well with the energy, with the activity, things like that. So let's see. Zach and Debo going back-to-back like Drake and a 4. Like, here's the thing. This is back how Zach and DeMar looked when Lonzo Ball was out there, right? Having a point guard that communicates out there, not necessarily the biggest distributor like a Jason Kidd, Chris Paul type point guard, but having a point guard that communicates, right? That makes sure he's going to get everybody involved in the game. It allows DeMar and Zach that balance to come out so much. There are so many times during the season we're like, hey, DeMar and Zach don't work together. When you have a point guard that communicates and just feeds the hot hand, it can work, right? It can work. And we saw that early last season. It's starting to feel like that again. Let's hope that it maintains for the rest of the season as the Bulls make this playoff push. Pat Bev waving and directing plays in the fourth was so refreshing. Absolutely. And that's just a level of confidence that Io doesn't have yet. And Io isn't a point guard. He's a combo guard. So, it says a lot in that case. And when people were asking why the Bulls are going to go after another guard, you saw why. Good one, man. Let's do it again against the Raptors. It'll be a tough team to beat for sure. Oh, yeah. The Raptors in their length, Javonte Green is crazy. The Raptors in their length is going to be difficult. And we saw that the first time we faced the Raptors. But we were able to combat it, come out with a better game plan another time that we played them. Now, let's see how the Bulls face the Raptors. This is going to be an important game again for playoff seeding. Let's see how the Chicago Bulls do. Baki in the building says, y'all see what happens when you have a legit point guard? Listen, bro. Listen. Simba says offense got going in the second half. Yeah, the offense caught fire, and they never looked back. Never looked back. King Cap again says, if we add a consistent three-point shooter, we can make a run in the playoffs. Listen, I'll tell you what, with the way that the Bulls have played the last two games, defensively and offensively, again, albeit, let's wait and see that it's more consistent over a 5, 7, 10-game stretch. But if this Bulls team plays like this in the playoffs, especially in the play-in, if the Bulls play like this in the play-in, they're definitely going on a run. They're definitely getting out that play-in. But in the playoffs, they could be a tough out for a team if they continue to play like this. And, you have Zach and DeMar doing the 1-2 and Vooch coming in and being the consistent player he's been all season. Imagine if we played this way during the first half of the season. A lot of bottom barrel teams wouldn't be that close to us. We wouldn't be a bottom of the barrel team ourselves. If we took care of business against the bottom of the barrel teams early in the season, we wouldn't be flirting with the play-in. We'd be flirting with 7-6 spot in the Eastern Conference. But woulda, coulda, shoulda. We have what we are now. We made our bed. We're laying in it, and we're starting to improve it. Right? That's all we can do. Simba, we finally got to see the opposite of what has been happening in the fourth quarter for the first half of the season. Great point, Simba. Great point. Bulls Daily says, do you see Bradley pull Billy to the side and talk to him after the game? Don't be surprised if we see a Bill trade in the future. No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. If the Bulls play like this all year, we'd be a top team in the NBA. That's why the season has been so frustrating. We know they're capable of this type of play. Yeah, and they've even showed it in flashes this season. They showed it against the better teams in the Eastern Conference. That's why we have such a good record against the top teams in the Eastern Conference. So, yeah, we got to continue to see it. J3 Cabrera says, I know they both play different positions, but I think DJJ deserves more playing time over Io. You said it. Completely different positions. So it's based off position. You can't just play a player at minutes if you don't have those minutes open at that position. And with Patrick Williams moving to the bench and Caruso now being the starting 4, it's naturally going to cut the minutes for Derrick Jones Jr. because you're only 4. Patrick Williams is off the bench, meaning he's going to get those backup 4 minutes as long as he's playing well. So, it brings some things to desire there. It's going to be even more interesting to see how it works out. If Javonte Green does come back healthy this season, it's going to be something to watch to see how Billy Donovan really messes with that rotation. Debo and Zach combining for 22 of 30 through 67 from the field. That's crazy, bro. But that's what we need from them. That's definitely what we need from them. So let's hope that we can continue to see them play that type of way. And it is what it is. And then as far as the Bradley Beal thing, didn't Bradley Beal play for Billy Donovan in college? That's probably why he pulled him over. There's a pre-existing relationship there. So I highly doubt there's a trade coming to the Bulls. But, Silencer says, if we played this way from the beginning of the season, we'd be top 5 in the Eastern Conference. I'm not willing to say that. Looking at the top 5 teams, honestly, the Bulls just aren't good. And I haven't seen, even in how they're playing now, again, we got to see it sustain longer, but the Bulls just aren't as good as those top 4 teams. They're not as good as Boston. They're not as good as Milwaukee. They're not as good as Philly. And Cleveland Cavaliers, I want to see them face this version of the Bulls team, which we won't. I think we finished our season series against the Cavs. But, the Bulls will probably be, like I said, 5th, 6th, 7th, more than likely, 7th, 6th seed, kind of flirting between there. But again, that's all for naught. Let's see how they finish this season now. Yo says, holding Nets to 87 and Wizards to 82 is great to see, especially when we have scoring droughts. Yeah, see, the scoring droughts are still there, but the Bulls are not allowing teams to go on runs like they were before, or we're responding to runs better than what we have before. There was a time in the second quarter where the Wizards went up by 1. Usually, if that would have happened, it would have completely changed the momentum for the Bulls. Where they would have started getting down on themselves. They wouldn't have played with the same energy. They didn't do that this game. They immediately came back and took the lead back. So that's what this Bulls team has a completely different level of fight from them than what we saw early in the season. And let's hope that it continues. Nice win. My high fell asleep, only saw the 4th. So you was on that Alana. See, y'all got to leave that Alana weed alone. I keep telling y'all that, man. Y'all don't want to listen to me. Yeah, Alana's the only one who can get away with that. Y'all can't be trying to smoke like Alana, man. It's not going to be very fruitful for you guys if you try to smoke that Alana weed, cuz she be passing out. So Chris Corvinio says huge win. Neck spasm, which is what she says huge win. Haize, are you starting to think the Pat Bev effect is real? Like I said, Sydney, I got to see it for more. I'm not one of the knee-jerk reaction people. I got to see. The Bulls came out with some great energy the last 2 games. Let's see how they finish off next week. By the end of next week, and again, it doesn't have to come in wins, but if the Bulls play with this type of energy throughout next week, if next Sunday we're talking about at that point the Bulls still playing with this level of energy, focus, right? Then yeah, I'll be able to say that it's real. I can't say it before then. I'm not a knee-jerk reaction-y type person, so. Kobe looked like a 2 guard, but he definitely can run point. Oh, yeah, with his growth and how he passes the ball now, with his growth in his decision-making and putting the ball on the floor, Kobe White can absolutely play some point guard. Again, I'm not saying you want to run him mainly at the point, but he definitely has now, I think, he's better than what he'd ever been in his career running the point. That's what I'll say. So Raul in the building says, I know we still got to make the playoffs, but Bulls versus Knicks in the playoffs would be great, to be honest. Oh, man. That would be a nasty series. That would be fun again, to be honest with you. That would be fun to see Bulls versus Knicks in the playoffs. But like you said, we got to get there first. We got a long road ahead of us before we can start worrying about who our playoff opponent's going to be. But let's hope. Let's hope that the Bulls do that run, and we are talking about who we're going to face in the playoffs. This defense is looking good. Our pick and roll defense has been so much better. And that's where it benefits from having a communicator on the defensive side of the ball as your point guard. Patrick Beverley able to identify what other teams are trying to do offensively and being able to communicate that to his players, it makes them smarter defenders. Absolutely. That's why you're seeing pick and roll defense specifically be better. Marcus Brown says, can y'all imagine how more deadly this team would be when Ball, Caruso, and Beverly as the defensive guards? It would be magic. Kobe was playing great D tonight. So here's what I'll say to this, and I've been telling everybody this. It's highly unlikely that you see Pat Bev, Caruso, and Lonzo Ball on the team. If Lonzo Ball's healthy, ready to go at the start of the season, I'm telling you right now, with the Bulls having 9 guaranteed contracts and already being over the salary cap, look for somebody to be moved, and it's probably going to be one of those point guards. And I do think if Pat Bev keeps having this effect, they're going to want to re-sign him, but they're going to try to free up space for him by moving somebody else or not re-signing somebody. Watch what I say. That's 2 guys. Now Raptors. 1 game at a time, guys. This thing can't happen. Defense, 2 games in a row, not giving up 90 points, recipe for success. That was a stream of thought, but I appreciate it, Marvin. You also are on point. I see red in this bitch. From Nice, what's going on, brother? Absolutely, man. Next spasm, which is what she said, says, I saw the heart from most Bull squad. Yes, this team is playing with heart now. This team is absolutely playing with heart. The communication and energy on the defensive end has been a breath of fresh air. 1 game at a time. That's from Lano. Glad to have you in the building there, brother. J Mac says the Bulls it's sloppy play from earlier. Great defensive effort. The Bulls had held Bill to 18 points. Zach and Debo had smooth game. Vooch, Pat, Drum had solid games. Kobe finally started knocking down shots. Kudos to Pat Bev and AC. Completely agree with you there, J Mac. Completely agree with you. Italo Moraes says good defense will win you some games. Good defense is going to win you rings. I say this, I'm going to change that. Great defense wins you rings. So, but yeah, I agree with the sentiment completely. The Ultimate Rage says, I want to know that these 2 wins aren't a fluke. I want to know too. That's why I said I got to wait 5 to 7 games before I'm ready to evaluate and say that this thing is real. That's just me. Call me a pessimist. Call me jaded by the way that the season's gone so far. But I need to see it for that sustained amount of time before I'm ready to say for sure. But signs are looking good. Signs are looking good. Zach has not passed the ball since Pat Bev told him not to. No, that's not true because he's gotten a lot of assists in the last 2 games. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely focused on scoring more. And that's the benefit of having a ball handler out there. It allows Zach. Do you notice Zach's being more aggressive going to the lane, right? He's doing those things. He's finishing again. Zach LaVine seems to have his confidence and bounce back. And that version of Zach LaVine is a dangerous player. Dangerous player. Marcus Brown says having Beverly is like having Draymond Green as leading a better defensive team and integrity. Oh, for sure. He energizes not only the players but the crowd, the fans, right? He brings all that. This team looks different down the stretch with Pat Bev. Yeah, so far, right? It's been 2 games. Let's continue. We got 2. Let's go get another one against the Toronto Raptors. Silencer, how well do you think we'll do against the Suns? Listen, bro, I have no idea, man. With the brand of defense the Bulls are playing, here's what I'll say. Us and how we play against the Toronto Raptors is going to better inform me how we'll do against the Suns, only because to see how the Bulls now combat that length. But I do think that defensively the Bulls can make it interesting. Zach has to play like Zach LaVine, right? This Zach that we see has to play. He's going to have to be locked in. Him, DeMar, and Vooch are going to have to be locked in against the Phoenix Suns. And we're going to have another big contribution from P. Will and Kobe coming off the bench in that game. That is a deep team. We're going to have to play well and act like it. Jay says, finally starting to eat teams we know we are way better. Hopefully we can keep this going. Hopefully, man. That's all we can do right now is hope and watch what they do and evaluate what they do. And right now, they've given us some really good signs. So one of the biggest differences is Pat Bev actually bringing the ball up and directing traffic. Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. Definitely agree with that. I've never seen Bradley Beal and Kuzma ever this frustrated in the second half. Listen, and Gafford was frustrated. He was mad, bro. I remember whoever was saying that Gafford was cooking Vooch. Listen, he had only 5 points in the second half. And yeah, Gafford was frustrated. And that frustration got him out his game for sure. Aaron, Io, if I'm remembering correctly, so Io, there's a limit on how much Io can get paid. I believe as a starting salary, the most Io can get, somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 9.5. But we'll see. That's still a lot. And I do think that him having this sophomore slump is going to make it easier and more friendly for him to re-sign with the Bulls. Io's agent had to come into the season. Look at it. Io had a solid rookie season. Yeah, he hit a rookie wall last season. Came into this season as the de facto starting point guard. I'm sure Io DeSumu's agent was like licking his chops like, we about to get paid. And then Io proceeded to have the season that he had. He's in a sophomore slump. It's going to be a more fair deal right now. So we'll see what happens. I think Io, if I had to guess, I think Io's going to sign for probably about 8.5, 8.75 as a base salary with his increases year after year with that. But we'll see. The Bulls may even get a more favorable deal than that, especially with Pat Bev in here now. People going in on P. Will today. I believe he did what he needed to do tonight on the defensive end. He had some good passes today, would have had assists if shots were falling. Yeah, people who like to, those type of people are only looking at box score. What P. Will did defensively tonight, he did good defensively. And there were times, especially in that first half, where Kuzma could not get around Patrick Williams. So, people who say but they're box score watchers more than likely. So it is. Anytime Patrick Williams doesn't have a big scoring output, people are literally going to be like, oh, Pat, look at Pat. That's your 4th overall pick. But it's like, did you watch the game? Did you watch the game go? The Education James in the building says, we got to keep Kobe. He's a pure six man, exactly what a team wants off the bench. Yeah, he can do a lot of it, a lot of things off the bench. Pat Bev got them communicating. Billy and the other coaches need to really reevaluate rotation and see who works best where. Dalen needs minutes for sure. He rebounds, especially if we blowing teams out. Yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get in this game and get more minutes in there. He got 2, but it kind of is what it is. Billy Donovan kind of foreshadowed this when he said that somebody's going to have to fall out of the rotation. Most of us knew that meant that Dalen Terry wasn't going to get very many minutes. It's unfortunate, but, the rook is going to have, he won't be a rookie next season, but he's going to have an absolute place in the rotation next season. Watch what I say. Next Spasm says, not all good shooting teams have good games all the time. They struggle as well. Our shooting is okay, in my opinion. Well, when you have 2 straight games of being over 50% as a team from the field, that's solid shooting, right? The 3-point shooting has been terrible. Well, it's terrible in this game. It was solid last game. Going 8 for 30 from 3-point range, isn't it? Imagine what this team would have been had they only if they hit 5 more of the threes. That's 13 of 30. That's still not a good percentage, but 5 more threes, that makes this blowout look even bigger, right? So the Bulls got to shoot the ball more efficiently from the 3-point range. A lot of that's going to fall on Zach and Kobe. They're the defense, and Pat. Pat needs to take more threes as well. They're the best 3-point shooters in the team. So we'll see. Who do you think we could be a matchup problem for us in the play-in? In the play-in, I think the Toronto Raptors absolutely could be a matchup problem. Again, just that length. And I think that they're a very well coached team at times. But Atlanta Hawks too, because for some reason it's like it's 1-1, right? They pose matchup problems for us one game. The next game we take care of it. But definitely the Toronto Raptors I'm worried about in the play-in. The Miami Heat for sure as well too. I think those are the teams that can present the biggest matchup issues for us with just heart and everything else. But right now with how the Bulls are playing, I would trust the Bulls to be able to beat either one of those teams. We just got to see if this play is going to be continued. So. The Ultimate Rage, we've beaten all the top teams this year, even the Nets with KD and Kyrie. Yeah, we have. But as we know with this team, they can lose to anyone. So we'll see how it goes. Rap God Reloaded says, Passive P showed up today. No, he showed up on the defensive side of the ball. I wouldn't even say he was necessarily passive on the offensive end. That's just my personal opinion, but it is what it is. El Trapo says, yo, dog, P. Will starting to look like a grown man out there. He's starting to understand his strength, right? Like I said, there were 2 possessions in a row where Kuzma literally could not get around Pat Williams. He couldn't. He tried. He couldn't do it. And so that is Pat understanding. Now, there was a play in which Kuzma couldn't get around Pat. Then Kuzma passed the ball, and Pat lost Kuzma briefly, and then they passed, and then he got an easy lay-in. But as far as the on-ball defense that Pat did on Kuzma, Pat used his body great on Kuzma today. Really good, in my opinion. Did you notice that DeMar and Zach gave him the ball and told him to go? Yeah, for sure. For sure. And that's what they need to do. You need to empower the other players around you. You can't do it all by yourself. Bulls not even in the play-in right now. Y'all talking about playoffs, shaking my head. I think the Bulls will be in the play-in once they update the standings. I think that they will be. No, we're still a half game back. So, yeah, there you go. Dragic is likely gone. Yeah, I don't think Dragic resigns. Not with Pat Bev on there. I don't think so. I'm surprised they cut Bradley and not Dragic. Why? Bradley offers nothing that this team actually has ever used, right? Dragic still, he's giving the Bulls some shooting. He has great chemistry with Drummond. But I look at Tony Bradley, Tony Bradley was like a glorified seat warmer. That's what he was. And, he may go to a team and they might find a role where he still produces at. But, it is what it is. That step back dagger from Zach. Zach got his swag back, bro. And it's good to see. It's really good to see Zach LaVine and that confidence getting back to him. Definitely getting back to him. Gafford was cooking Vooch, LOL. That was a dumb comment. Yeah, bro. Like, people just, it is what it is, bro. 8 Lives in the building says the starting lineup Billy created got the team looking deep as hell, and they not even cooking on all cylinders just yet. Kobe holding it down, though. Listen, I love the way that Kobe's playing. Love the way that he's playing. P Won't was solid on Bill and Kuzma today. That's a great point about the Bill thing as well. And he did that the last time we played them as well. He played pretty good when he was rotated on Bill. So V.O. Walker says, Haize, I like our defense. It gives a chance going forward. Yeah, for sure. Defense is going, like, what did I say early in the season? Wait, heart will do what sometimes skill won't do, right? That was a quote that I had earlier this season. And the Bulls are playing with heart. And especially when you play with heart on the defensive side of the ball, the sky becomes the limit. We need to make sure that it's going to be sustained, but the sky is the limit for the Chicago Bulls. Who said Lonzo's being waived? Who said Lonzo's being waived? They just don't know basketball if they said that. And thank you for being the best Chicago Bulls content creator on the planet, my G. V.O. Walker, that's huge accolades for me, bro. I appreciate that. From your mouth to God's ears on that one, bro. And listen, I love this team. Truly, it's in my heart. The Bulls live in my heart. And I do this because I'd be talking about the Bulls even if I didn't have this show. So I wanted to create a platform that's for Bulls fans, and I think that we're doing a pretty damn good job at that. So I appreciate that, bro. Let's see what else we got. 8 Live says, all we need is for P. Will to work with Kobe trainer, Dr. Drew. He did. Patrick Williams did work with the same dribble coach that Kobe did. Patrick Williams has a dribble, and Patrick Williams has a tight dribble. He just doesn't get many opportunities to handle the ball, and I think he's maybe not as confident in it. But Patrick Williams did work with Kobe White's trainer this offseason. So he did. And let's hope that it keeps going. Brian said, to be honest, I forgot about Dragic. Yeah, man. It is what it is. Brandon L. Jet says, hold the hell up. 338 people watching and only 59 likes. What the F? Hit the like button. Hit the goddamn button. Hit the button, y'all. Hit the goddamn button. We up to 71 likes now, so there you go. There's a couple of people hit the goddamn button. Keep hitting the goddamn button. DeRozan will retire. Yeah, at the very minimum, he's going to sign one of those ceremonial contracts like Luau did, like Joakim Noah did, and officially retire as a Bull. Definitely. That's at the bare minimum. Juan said it. Oh, Juan be tripping, bro. I love Juan. Big supporter of the channel, but Juan do be tripping. Soldier Field says, Haize, we're 1-0 since I got the league pass. That is hilarious, bro. You should always have league pass, man. Let's see what else we got. Haize and Jamal from Bull Centrals are the best Bulls content creators, in my humble opinion. Well, I appreciate that, Sean. No matter who you put me up there with, I appreciate that you see me in that light, bro. Definitely appreciate that. Alex Caruso is the Jack Sanborn of the NBA. That's deep, but accurate. Fairly accurate. Bulls might make it to the play-in spot. Yeah, I mean, they keep playing like this for sure. Dr. Earl says, yo, Haize, let's get some victory shots. And y'all want some victory shots? I don't have my shot glass. So we're going to be drinking 1800 straight out the bottle. Salute. Woo! Yeah. Yeah. Bulls looking more connected and energized from Delbert Grady. Absolutely, bro. No, Kostas, they pulled Kostas' two-way contract and they gave it to, who did they give it to? Can't remember who they gave Kostas two-way. Who's our other two-way player? Is it Karlik? But yeah, so no, he's not in the system anymore. I really love how the Bulls have come out. I hope it continues. Zach looked like he's poised for a nice second half. DeMar's DeMar. Vooch looks good and consistent. And Pat Bev is Chicago. Cortez, that's a great that comment. I'm about to pin that. This one gets pinned. Let's go ahead and pin that comment. Yeah, that's That's dope. I agree with that. Definitely agree with that. Haize, I said that P. Will should come off the bench. He looks more comfortable. He does, and you know, I mean, and I do think that he's getting more opportunities off, and it's up to Billy to keep coaching it that way, right? Keep giving Patrick Williams opportunities, even when he's off the bench. We'll see him continually grow for sure. Zach now 10th all-time Bulls points. Give him flowers for today. Yeah, listen, and what he's done, he's played for us now, what, 6 seasons with us now? That's crazy. And keep in mind, his first season, he only played like 20-something games because he was coming back from injury. So, yeah, I mean, Zach LaVine, when it's all said and done, is going to own a lot of Chicago Bulls records, whether you love him or hate him. When it's all said and done, Zach LaVine is going to own a handful of Bulls records if he stays with this team long term. So, you know, it just is what it is there. You hit that liquor like it was Fuji water. You say, oh, listen, I love tequila. 90% of my, not 90, at least 30% of my blood is tequila. I love tequila. I like expensive tequila. That cheap shit is different, bro. Like, that's like drinking rubbing alcohol, but it is what it is, man. Can't underestimate Pat Bev going around the media, hyping up Billy Donovan coaching scheme. It's kind of put DeMar in a situation where he's playing better team ball. He got Kobe hyped today. Yeah, listen, Pat Bev, for what it's worth, for as much as we are down on head coach Billy Donovan, Patrick Beverley believes in Billy Donovan, his schemes, everything. And it's evident in how Patrick Beverley, I think I said Williams, or how Pat Bev is running the offense, right? He's running it like he believes in that offensive system, and he's helping it go. So there you go. My first red comment, I watched this podcast and listen on Spotify. Well, thank you, Cortez. I definitely appreciate that. Like I said, for anyone, we're trying to do this thing. I'm calling it Keeping It 100. If you guys, even if you don't listen on Apple Podcasts, if you have an Apple device, go and search Chicago Bulls Central, leave a 5-star review. We're trying to get to 100 5-star reviews by the end of the season. We get the listens, right? That podcast gets like 12,000 listens a week. So make sure you guys are tuned in on that podcast. Like I said, even if you only watch on YouTube, go to the podcast side. If you have an Apple device, leave a 5-star review. We're calling it Keeping It 100. Once we get to 100 5-star reviews, we're going to be giving something away. Don't know what it is yet, but we're going to be giving something away. Butter Biscuit says, so was confidence really the only thing holding us back? It really seems like it, bro. It really seems like confidence was the biggest things holding us back. Says Sean Goodman, they do live calls for every game. Come chop it up with us in the chat. Tell C-Dub, Bobby, and Big Kev I sent you. Oh, y'all definitely go check out the Shy Bulls podcast with the Cognac Boys. That's family. You guys will see them over here. Make sure you guys support them as well. My favorite Bulls content creators. P. Will should only come off the bench depending on the matchup. Like against team like Phoenix and Milwaukee, I think he should start. And Billy Donovan did allude to that. He did talk about that there's going to be some matchups where he has to start Patrick Williams. And the Phoenix matchup may be one. Hell, the Toronto matchup may be one. We'll see what he does with it. But we'll see Patrick Williams in the starting lineup at times for sure. Hey, is any chance Pat Williams can turn into his comparison Kawhi Leonard on this team? I always thought that was a bad comparison. I've said this. I want Patrick Williams to turn into Luol Deng. If Patrick Williams turns into Luol Deng, that's a 17-6 guy and 5 assists. I'm happy with that. Especially when you're playing with the player that's ball dominant like Zach LaVine. DeMar, he won't be playing with DeMar much longer. Not to shit on DeMar, but at some point DeMar's going to retire. But what I want to see Pat Williams turn into is Luol Deng, and I think that's a damn good player. Right? He's not going to be and probably turn out to the player you build your franchise around, but he can turn into a guy that's a key cog for a playoff team and a championship winning team at some point. So Rap God Reloaded says, as a Heat fan, hey, should Jimmy Butler's jersey retire in the United Center? No, to me, he didn't play here long enough. And he didn't really accomplish much when he played here. He didn't win an MVP. He definitely didn't win the title. We won some playoff series. We didn't even win the ECF. We didn't even have a finals appearance. While I love Jimmy Butler and what he did for the Chicago Bulls, to me, he wasn't here long enough and he didn't do enough in the time he was here to have his jersey retired. I don't think so. Jamal 6266 Jamal in the building says 2 games down, 21 to go. Let's see how they respond over the next few games. Completely agree with you there, Jamal. Delbert says, yo, Haize, do you think we can upset a team in the playoffs? I think we can. Again, I got to see this level of play sustained for more. I will say this. If this level of play is sustained, I can absolutely see that happening. But we have to sustain that level of play first. I need to see it sustained over 7, 10 games before I'm willing to say that. Haize, the Bulls have been the best defensive team since January. Yeah, it's crazy, right? We've been a top 10 offense and defense since the Minnesota game, which is bananas. And that's even increased more now with our recent play. So the Bulls have some really positive signs when you're looking at things. We just need to continue to bring it home. And if we continue to do so, it's going to be where the Bulls are going to have a nice offseason or postseason. Haize, how are these Lakers outcasts performing well in Bulls uniforms? Hey, I say it like this, bro. Alex Caruso was always going to do well. The Lakers were stupid for not re-signing him. And Patrick Beverley, this is why situation matters, man. Situation matters. He came to a team that needed every single thing that he did. So, yeah. Sluggo in the building says, Haize, we don't seem to have much room to make moves for next offseason. Do you fear us trying to run it back if the season ends on a positive note? Here's my question to you. What makes you think we don't have much room to run it back? The Bulls can have, I think, $18 million in cap space and a $10 million mid-level exception. They also have contracts in Alex Caruso, if they choose to break up the big three in DeMar DeRozan, that they could move, right? They also could force signing trades for Kobe. Well, not force. They can entice signing trades for a team that may want to sign Kobe White if they don't re-sign him. The Bulls have more than enough leeway to make moves, right? They do. So I think the Bulls have more than what people are necessarily thinking. So that's what I meant earlier by is Billy a secret genius, because it's so surprising to hear how hype Pat Bev was about Billy. Yeah, bro. And it seems like the players believe in Billy. Maybe not on this roster, but players around the league have a high opinion of Billy Donovan. So, Haize, what does Patrick Williams look like at 27 years old on the Bulls? I don't know. He's what, 22 now, 21? It's way too early in his career, and I'm hiccuping. He hasn't had the role or developed enough to really predict that yet. I have no idea, bro. I won't even begin to predict it. He's 21 years old still. The sky's the limit for Patrick Williams. So we'll see. Averaging double-digit points for the first time in his career, Patrick Williams on the season is averaging 10 points per game, 4 rebounds on 46% shooting, and almost 2 assists. So we'll see how it turns out for him. If you retire Noah's number, you seriously need to consider Dang's too. Well, Noah's different. Noah did get MVP votes. Noah won Defensive Player of the Year. Like I said, and don't get me wrong, retiring jerseys, and this is why if you look at all Chicago teams don't retire very many jerseys. The Bears have already said they're not retiring any more jerseys. They're going to do like a ceremony to honor players, but they're not retiring any more jerseys. Retiring jerseys is a special thing. And just because you contributed to a team for a long time or was damn good, that doesn't necessarily mean you deserve to have your jersey retired. You have to hit certain accolades. Derrick Rose won an MVP here. So that to me is an entryway to get your jersey retired, period. Joakim Noah, there's an argument to be made about him having his jersey retired. I will say this. There should be no reason why Tony fucking Bradley had Joakim Noah's jersey. That's for damn sure. That was ridiculous. Maurice Jeffries asks, what's up, Haize? Would you compare P. Will to Antoine Jameson? That's honestly, and I know people are going to hate it, that's honestly not a bad comp. That's not a bad comp. I would say that I hope he's better defensively than Antoine Jameson was. But that's not a bad comp. It's not a bad comp at all. Brandon L. Jet says the Bulls have more options this offseason via salary cap, trades, and exceptions than the offseason than when they got DeMar, Alonzo, and Caruso. Only thing they won't have is their own draft pick. I think people forget that. A great point, Brandon L. Jet, that the offseason we got DeMar, Alonzo, and Caruso, I think people forget technically the Bulls had no cap space that season. They got that. They got Lonzo and DeMar by using signing trades, and they got Caruso with an exception. So, again, if you're a creative front office, you always have avenues. Always have avenues. Do you think D-Rose a Hall of Famer? D-Rose would be the only MVP not to get in the Hall of Fame. I think like when you look at NBA and Hall of Fame, there are a couple things that automatically get you in the Hall of Fame. Winning MVP gets you there. Winning 3 or more titles gets you there. And when you look at Derrick Rose, MVP, Rookie of the Year, several-time All-Star. And keep in mind, it's the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's not just the NBA Hall of Fame. He's an Olympic gold medalist. Derrick Rose is getting in the Hall of Fame. He's getting in the Hall of Fame, period. It's happening. Reginald Short says, do you see Dragic being the primary point guard when on the floor with Io, Kobe, P. Will, and Dre? Probably. Yeah, I think that's fair. And I think he'll be able to find those guys in the right spot. So. I mean, well, Pat has Jimmy's number. He's not half the player Jimmy is. Yeah, but that goes back to Jimmy wasn't here as long as any of those other players. Jimmy really, outside of growing his game, like he accomplished, like stacking up and becoming one of the best two-way players in the game is a huge accomplishment. But as far as like we won a lot of games, we didn't win anything. He didn't win any MVP. We didn't win any titles, even an ECF. So, we'll see. Vern says, when is Io's contract up? This offseason, literally this year. They only gave him a 2-year deal as a second-round pick. His contract is up at the end of the season. Haize, is Billy a better coach than we think? I've always said, listen, and when I was saying Billy's not a bad coach, he just may not be the coach for this team. I've always said that. I've always said Billy Donovan is not a bad coach. He just may not be good for this team. And when you have a point guard that believes in the system, he looks better as a coach. I will say this. I will still say Billy Donovan's reluctance to use challenges. This game was another game in which I don't feel like he used the timeouts correctly. But Billy Donovan is a solid NBA coach. I was mainly meaning I hope they don't run it back and we do make moves, but we got to get a lot in return for trades. I think Dragic, Marco, and probably Javonte won't be on the team next year. Dragic for sure, he's not coming back. Javonte, you guys know, I've been saying all season, Javonte's not coming back. I think he's going to get an offer as an unrestricted free agent. He's going to get an offer the Bulls just cannot match unless they trade off a lot of other players. So I think that in Marco, he's still going to be back. I don't see AK cutting a rookie with 1 year left on their deal. That's just my personal opinion. He could involve him in a trade if they do that, but it is what it is. I think Billy's not good enough for the talent we have, but I do think he's an okay coach. Yeah, that's really what I said. Really what I said. I mean, really what I mean, right? You said it. Leonard Thomas says, Chicago Bulls, Billy is not that dude. He's not that guy. You're not that guy. But all right, y'all, 45 minutes hit. Got to get ready to do Locked on Bulls. Thank you so much for tuning in, especially the earlier show. I love you guys, man. Make sure, let's do this officially. Give me a second. Let me get my graphics up. Make sure you follow the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. I don't give a damn what no other channel. I don't care how many subscribers, whatever they got. We better than all of them. We the only truly daily Chicago Bulls channel. Monday through Sunday, you get content from us. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. And if any other Bulls content creator got a problem with it, they can come see me. But other than that, I love you guys, man. Make sure you guys see red right off this win. Go over to Locked on Bulls if you want to continue the conversation. Love you guys. Good night, y'all. Peace.
This has been a presentation of the Breaks Media.
I see red, I see red.